In this video, I'm gonna make a full beat from beginning to end, sampling, chopping, recording, arranging, mixing and exporting. Let's do it. What's up, this is Ficus Beats. If you're interested in beat making videos, challenges, tutorials and more, consider subscribing. And also if you're interested in an MPC Skype lesson or in a free sample pack, check out the description. This is gonna be a long one, but it'll be worth it. You can find a timeline in the description to jump to a certain topic which is of interest to you. Let's dive in. Alright, I found some old Japanese recordings. Let's connect the phone to the MPC using this cable. Into the input of the MPC, and let's connect it to the phone. You can also connect it to your computer. Alright, now let's zoom in a little bit. Next, let's go to sampler and turn on this one, the monitor. Let's press play. Okay, we got a signal. Let's arm it and record. Okay. Let's name the sample, and now let's edit the sample. Process, normalize. Okay, let's chop it up. Go to trim, and now you can, for example, chop it up using the threshold function. Now it automatically creates a lot of chops. This method is good for drum breaks, for example. We want to do it with regions. So now we got 16 regions. Using the Q links to select the start point. Alright, if you're happy with your slices, hold shift, convert, and you can convert it into a new drum program using slices, and I'm gonna choose slice type pad parameters. So now if we go back to main, we can find the new program we just created under program. Here it is. Okay, alright, let's continue. Let's go to program edit and let's mess with the tune of the sample. Let's activate full level. I like that, let's take it. Let's detect the BPM. See, 150. Okay. Yeah, let's make it a little bit slower, maybe 142. Alright, let's load up some drums. Go to track 2, make a new drum program. Now let's go to browse and places. Let's go to my SD card and let's load up some drums from my drum kit, knock knock. And now let's play back the melody and let's see which kick matches. I like that Grove Street kick. Let's put it on pad 1. Let's find a snare. Snares, claps, rim shots. Do the same. I like the rim shotter clap. Let's find a hi-hat. I like the GoPro. Let's put it on pad 3. Let's choose another one just to be sure. This one. On pad 4. On open hi-hat maybe. On pad 8. We got a drum kit. Okay, let's go back to main. Now let's lower the level of the drum program because all the sounds are at 0 and combined with the sample they will go into the red. Okay, but first let's name our drum program drums, just for the overview. Okay, now let's go to track mix. We are in programs. Now select the drums program, it's program 4, and lower the level to -10, something like that. And lower the sample also, it's here. Alright, we loaded up some drums, let's find a pattern. I'm trying to match the kick drum with the sample, with the pattern of the sample. Let's go into the grid view, hold shift, press main and see if the notes are right. Okay. The sample is a little bit slow, but I like it. Let's add a hi-hat. Let's definitely take this one and let's play it with 16 levels velocity. So select the pad and hit 16 levels. And here you can choose, we want to choose velocity. So it goes from very quiet to very loud. And let's let's play. Deactivate 16 levels. Now let's delay the hi-hat a little bit. For that we select the hi-hat, go to Program Edit. On the samples page you just hit 2 times and here you can choose the offset. That means it will delay the triggering of the hi-hat if you set the offset to minus. Let's set it a little bit. I like it. Let's make the hi-hat a little bit quieter. For that, let's go to pad mix, hold shift and press track mix / pad mix, or you can just double tap the track mix. Now we are in pad mix, that means we can mix all the individual pads of the current program. So let's go to our hi-hat and bring it down a little bit. Just a little bit. Alright. Now let's bring in the open hi-hat. Actually, let's leave it. Let's continue, let's load in a percussion loop and chop it up using the threshold function. So let's go to track 3, make a new drum program. Let's go to browse. And we are in the hi-hat section, so let's go back to percussion loops. In this pack we got some percussion loops. Okay, this could be cool. Let's load in the lazy percussion loop on pad 1. Go back to main, name the drum program Perc. So now we want to bring the volume down a little bit. So let's go to track mix and select the Perc program and bring it down. Now I want to chop up this percussion loop. So let's go to sample edit and hit trim and let's go to threshold. So now it automatically chopped up the break over all the 16 pads. Now let's convert it into a drum program. Hold shift, press convert. New drum program using slices, do it. Go back to main. And here we have to choose the new drum program it just created. It's named after the sample, so let's see. Here we go. Lazy percussion loop. Let's pitch the percussion loop down. Go to program edit, master, pitch, or up. Let's pitch it up. Let's actually turn off the time correction for this one. Go to TC and here you can turn it off, or you just double click TC and then it turns it off. So now it won't quantize my recording. Let's do it. Okay, let's definitely bring down the volume of the percussion loop. Go to track mix and choose the new percussion program and bring it down. Alright, next let's add an 808 or a bass. Alright, next let's load up an 808. Go to track 4, create a new drum program and go to browse. Let's see, it's still the same drum kit, it's still the knock knock drum kit. 808 and bass, and I like the growl one. Let's take this, let's put it on pad 1. Let's go to main and name the program 808. And now let's bring down the level of the program, track mix, 808. Alright, next step, let's tune the 808. For that, let's go to program edit. And first, let's set the polyphony on the master page, the polyphony to mono. So the notes will cut each other off. Now let's go to samples page and tune it. I always tune it a little bit higher and then after that bring it down 1 octave. so I can hear it better. Now there are different methods you can play the 808. I sometimes use a 16 levels tune. Sometimes I create a key group with the 808 hit. But now let's just take this one hit and copy it to another pad and then tune the pad accordingly. That way we can also add 808 glides. So let's go to Program Edit, Samples page, and let's copy this pad to pad 2. Hold copy, hit the pad you want to copy, and then hit the pad you want to copy it to. Alright, now let's tune this pad. Let's copy it one more time. Let's bring down the whole program 1 octave, 12 semitones. I like those notes, so let's copy it another time. I like it, so let's record. Let's first turn on time correction again. Double click. Now let's add an 808 glide. So let's copy pad 1 and go to LFO modulation. Here you can change the pitch. I got a detailed video about this technique. I will put it in the description. Oh, let's add this. And now let's make another 808 glide. Copy this pad and change the wave of the LFO. I like it. Let's actually add some hi-hat rolls. I forgot. Let's go back to the drum program and play in the hi-hat with 16 levels velocity again and activate the note repeat. So hold shift, press note repeat. Alright, I like it. Okay, now that we have a basic beat, I want to add some additional sample chops. So let's go to the sample track 1, and I want to duplicate the sample program, so edit and duplicate. Now it says the name of the program and a 1. So that means that's a duplicate of the duplicate. That's a copy of the original sample program. So let's go to the original again. And now let's create a new track. So track 5. And choose the duplicate sample program. Now let's just find a pattern for some sample chops. I like that. Let's just take that. I like it. For now let's mute this track and add another track with the same program. Alright, this is an empty pad. I'm gonna use this one to cut these two pads off. So let's record a variation. Let's add this. Let's change the BPM to a good number. Now let's start arranging. Let's make the first sequence the intro. Let's call it intro. Let's name the individual tracks. So track 1 is the sample track. Track 2 we got the drums. Track 3 is the percussion. Track 4 the 808. Track 5 we got the sample chops. Let's call it hook chops. And track 6 we got some additional chops. Let's call it chops. Okay. Alright, now we named the tracks. Next step is to explode the drum track if we got all the drums on one track. So let's go to drum track, track 2, edit, and just hit explode. It will now put every single sound or every single sample on this drum program on a different track. So let's hit explode. It now muted the original drum track, and if we scroll we can see we got on track 7 it starts with the kick. Let's solo the track. We got the kick. Let's call it kick. And on track 8 we got the rim shot. Let's call it snare. On track 9 we got the hats. On track 10, that's it. Alright. Next step is to copy this first sequence, so the intro, to sequence 2. So let's go to edit, copy, sequence. Intro, sequence 1 to sequence 2. Let's call the new sequence hook. Oops. Let's call the new sequence hook. Do it. Okay, now we get sequence 2 and sequence 1. And let's move on. Let's copy the hook, sequence 2 to sequence 3 and call it part. Maybe part 1. Do it. And let's copy part 1 to the next sequence, to sequence 4. Let's call it part 2. And let's copy part 2, sequence 4, to the next sequence. Let's call it part 3. I'm gonna make 4 parts. Part 3, do it. And let's copy sequence 5 to sequence 6. And let's call it part 4. Alright, do it. Okay, now we got the intro, hook, part 1, 2, 3, 4. And now let's go to track mute. For the intro I want to mute the 808, the kick, the chops. What is track 5? I don't know. I muted 2. The snare and the hats. Let's see what it sounds like. Okay, I like it. Let's actually go back to main and copy this intro sequence to another sequence. Let's make it intro 2 because I want to vary the intro. Alright. Let's go back to track mute. So now in the intro 1 sequence, let's mute the percussion also. And just leave it with the sample. And in intro 2, which is on sequence 7, the percussion is unmuted. Alright, that's cool. Let's go to the hook and let's mute the chops and unmute the hook chops. Okay, that's fine. Let's go to part 1, sequence 3, and let's mute the chops. 808 maybe? No, the kick. I don't know what track 5 is, I think it's empty. Let's also mute the heads. I like that for part 1. Let's go to part 2 and let's also mute the chops. Let's mute the heads. So the kick is now introduced. Part 3. Let's introduce the heads and the chops. And for part 4, let's take out the 808 and the kick. Oh, I like that. That's like a bridge or before the hook comes in. Alright, now we got some different parts of the song. Let's go back to main. And now, alright, we got all the different parts of the song. Intro, hook, part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, intro 2. Let's go to song mode. Menu, song. And let's insert the different parts. Insert. And it starts here with the intro. Intro 1. Let's insert intro 2. And now let's insert the hook. Let's make it play 2 times. Next, let's bring in part 1. Also play 2 times. Part 2, also 2 times. Part 3, also 2 times. And part 4, also 2 times. Okay, now it's time for the hook again. Let's go back to the hook. And now let's do the whole structure again. Part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. And the hook, in the end, let's insert the intro as an outro. Intro 1. Next step is to convert the song into a sequence. So let's go back to main and first select an empty sequence. So sequence 8 is empty, unused. Let's go back to song mode and it's still there. And let's convert to sequence. Include muted tracks to convert it to sequence 8, which is unused, and do it. Now go back to main and go to the sequence, to sequence 8. Here you can see from song 1. So this is the structure. So it's 104 bars, so the whole song is in one sequence now. Okay, alright, that's perfect. So next step is to mix the whole thing. For that, let's go to the hook sequence because all the instruments are there. Sequence 2, the hook sequence. Alright, let's mix. Go to track mix, or if you go to menu, it's channel mixer. And here you can see we got the programs selected. So here are the individual programs we got. So let's start with the drum program, the drums program. Let's put an EQ on the whole program, so on the kick, snare and the hi-hat. I'm using the Air Para EQ, and let's just make a low cut at around 20 Hz and the high cut. It's on. It's on. Alright. I think the kick needs more punch, so let's go to the EQ and let's find out the frequency of the kick. It's not that easy with this EQ, but you can still do it somehow. Let's search in the low row. Let's first turn up the gain, and change the Q. Okay, now we got emphasis on the kick, and now let's scroll through the frequencies slowly. I think that's a good frequency. Let's change the Q again a little bit, and let's decrease the gain. Alright, now you can see the kick has a little bit more punch. Let's hear it without the EQ. And with the EQ. Without. So additionally we can put a little bit emphasis on the snare. So let's go to the high mids maybe. Increase the gain. Change the Q a little bit. And let's find the frequency of the snare. For that, let's actually solo the drum program. I like that frequency. Let's bring the gain back down. Okay, let's hear the drums without the EQ and then with the EQ. So it's a little bit bigger now. Let's also add a compressor to the drum program. Okay, so just try out different things until it sounds good. Don't overcompress. Alright, now let's go back to the track mix and let's hear the whole thing. Okay, now let's work on the levers of the chops. So that's this program. Let's lower the volume of this one. These are the vocals. Alright, let's next focus on the 808s. Let's put a EQ on that one as well. Para EQ and make a low and make a low cut at 20 Hertz. And let's also add a little bit of distortion. Harmonic, Akai, and let's go to the distortion amp maybe. So let's first listen to it without the distortion and then with. So it's a little bit more aggressive. Alright, let's go back and let's focus on, let's see what the percussion looks like. Make it a little bit louder maybe. Percussion program. Let's also put a EQ on that one, or like a high cut and a low cut. So it doesn't get muddy or something. Alright, next let's focus on the sample. Solo it. Put a EQ on that one maybe. Or at least a high cut and a low cut. Alright, I cleaned it a little bit so that the low frequencies of the sample won't get in the way of the 808 and the kick. Alright, let's go back and let's pan it a little bit to the right maybe. Okay, level again, and now let's focus on the sample chops, on the vocal chops. Let's also put a EQ on that. Same procedure. Make it a little bit brighter. Next, let's also pan it a little bit to the left. add a little bit more punch to the kick by going to pad mix, but let's first go to main and select the kick, and now go to pad mix, double tap track mix, or go to menu and then here pad mixer. The kick is here. Let's add an effect to the kick. Dynamics, air transient, to give it more punch. So here's with and here's without. So it definitely has more punch. Go back. Let's make it a little bit louder. Let's just ignore the red. Alright, now we are almost done. We are in track mix. Let's go to the master. So now let's put a little EQ on the master. Very subtle. Maybe make it a little bit more brighter, so turn up the higher end. Let's compare it without the EQ on the master. With. A little bit more defined. So let's go back. Let's just leave it like that. Go back to main. So now let's add some XYFX to the full song. Sequence 8, full song. Choose the track we want to affect. So I want to affect a sample track. Let's go to XY. Alright, it's important to choose the XYFX location. So here's output 1, 2. We want the program. So let's insert XYFX. This is the current program, so the sample. Let's change the effect. I really like the tape stop. Alright, let's activate right. It turns red. So now all you gotta do is press play start and it records all the effects you apply in real time. Maybe too harsh. Let's erase this one. Press erase. Here you got the full song. Here you got the sequence, the track, and if you choose automation, it will erase the automation of the current track. So track 1 sample. Do it. Let's do it. Let's do it again. Just press start. Alright, that's important to tap on the right again. So it's in read, it's in green. So now it won't record any automation. Let's go to main. Alright, next step is to export the beat. Let's first look at the master level. Maybe the master level of the hook. So as you can see, it doesn't hit 0, it's about -6 or -3. We don't want to bring it to 0 because if someone wants to rap on this beat, then it will get in the red pretty fast. So it's pretty good to leave it at it's pretty good to leave it at -6 or -3 dB, something like that. If you want to sell the beat or if you want to give the beat to a rapper. I always master my beats on Ableton, but only the beats that I put on Instagram or YouTube. The beats I sell, I always leave at -6 or -3, so that there's enough space for the vocals. And also before the mastering process, it should be at around -6 dB. Alright, so let's go to the full song sequence, hide that, and go to the little folder, export. So first let's export the stereo output. It's checked already. Wave, that's all, that's okay. Let's hit export. Let's call it Japanese. I always have the best titles, working titles. The folder is new projects, so that's okay. Let's save. So now it's exporting this song, the whole sequence. Okay, let's go back to the export. And now let's also export the tracks, the individual tracks, so explode tracks. Also in Wave, let's export them. But I want to export them into a folder so that they are not all over the place. So new folder, Japanese trackouts. Alright, so save. So now it's exporting track 1 and so on. If this video was helpful to you, leave a like and a comment, and also check out this video. I'll see you over there. Peace.